we could recall in 2013 into 2014, we had the whole issue of the cable and wireless and Columbus merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it, but we really call it a case of corporate prostitution, and we hold strong to that position. Cable and wireless, prior to that, when they changed their focus, they moved away from some of the European countries and came into the Caribbean region, and there was a business decision that was taken that they wanted to focus on this region, and they sold out most of their stocks in places like Mauritius and all those other countries and focus on the Caribbean. One of the first things they did was to change the CEO, and they appointed one Phil Bentley. Phil Bentley's first mission was to get at the Communication Workers Union in Trinidad and Tobago, because he was convinced it was the only union that stood against the cable and wireless juggernaut in the Caribbean, particularly in the English-speaking Caribbean, and we had challenged him ever since cable and wireless was in existence in the region. So he made approaches to this union, direct approaches to this union, seeking our support to gain the 2% shareholding in TSTT that will give them 51% shareholding. We rejected that outright. He sent his emissaries, and they came to us. They came right in this union hall here, trying to get us to buy into this whole issue of giving cable and wireless support and to lobby the government for them to have this 2% shareholding. We rejected it again. We told them that as far as the Communication Workers Union is concerned, we wanted to see the backs of them out of the region, particularly out of Trinidad and Tobago. Since then, Phil Bentley has gone on record as saying if he can't get the 2% shareholding, then he will compete with TSTT. And not too long after that, we saw the issue publicly made known to all of us about cable and wireless acquisition of Columbus Communication. Now, Columbus Communication is the parent company of Flow. Flow is the brand that operates in Trinidad and in some of the other Caribbean regions. So cable and wireless acquired Columbus, but Columbus ownership would have been focused around three North Americans. I could recall two guys particularly, John Malone and one guy named Paddock. They were billionaires who had owned Columbus Communication. And they went ahead with this acquisition. But coming out of the acquisition, Malone and Paddock and the other guy, they maintain a 30-something% share in the new cable and wireless entity that was formed, which we found was very interesting, very intriguing. All along, the Communication Workers Union challenged this acquisition. We had called on the Telecom Authority in Trinidad and Tobago to reject any kind of approval. We called on the government. We had protest action outside Castalia Hotel when they had this regional regulators meeting. We had protest action outside of the Ministry of Labour, outside the Ministry of Finance. We raised concern with the government. We raised concern with CARICOM in terms of not allowing these foreign multinationals to dominate our telecom space. All that went to waste because Jamaica gave its approval, then Barbados, and then subsequently Trinidad, and the other OECS countries had no choice but to follow suit. So cable and wireless, that acquisition materialized. But in Trinidad, there was a condition that they must get rid of their 49% shareholding in TSTT, because we raised the issue that in 2014 there was a notice by the Telecom Authority that there were 4 players shortlisted for a third mobile license. One of the players was cable and wireless, and another of the players would have been Flow. So what they did while they were doing the merger acquisition discussion, they cornered the market in terms of their application for the third mobile license, because the Telecom Authority made a bold statement to say that TSTT would not be granted certain spectrum allocation. It will be now given to whoever qualifies and secures that third mobile license to provide mobile services in Trinidad and Tobago. And they cornered the market, and then the whole thing unfolded. Malone took over the operations of cable and wireless, Malone and Paddock, and Bentley was really the front man now. He was really working for these guys. And then we heard about the Liberty acquisition. And then when we did our examination, Liberty is owned by John Malone. So Liberty, which is owned by John Malone, is now making an acquisition for a company that he has 36% stake in. And he got that 36% stake when he was bought out by Cable and Wireless. So it poses a lot of questions about insider trading, and we say it's corporate terrorism, because really and truly what they're doing is building a capital stock that will see them dominate the region, and eventually we'll be back to a monopoly state in the region where we'll have one provider, and the other providers who are in the market, TSTT in particular and Digicel, will have problems. We don't hold no brief for Digicel, so that's not our major concern. Our major concern is TSTT, which is one of the last bastions of local ownership in the telecommunication sector. And we have been clamoring for our government to hold strong to that, because in addition to the importance of telecom, TSTT's governance structure is such that 51% of the government shares have been invested in NEL. NEL is now owned by local shareholders, although the ordinary person don't have total control of NEL. Most of the institutional investors own about 60 to 70% of those shares. We still believe that it gives local the opportunity to own a stake in the telecom sector. Our cry has been to widen that ownership stake by the ordinary citizens through the sale of the 49% shares that Cable and Wireless had. And then we have been championing that cause. Now the Liberty acquisition to us is going to raise a different picture in the region, because the government is going to be looking at whether, by doing this, that TSTT in itself, without foreign partners, that is one of the questions they have raised with us, could compete with a Cable and Wireless, who is now going to be given a license to operate under the Flow new Cable and Wireless entity banner, with Liberty Capital backing them up. So it's really a intricate situation we have found ourselves in a sector that we believe is critical to the diversification of our economy, and billions of dollars are generated in the telecom sector, and if not 95%, close to 100% are repatriated out of foreign lands. North America, Ireland, and England. And we take strong offense to that, and we feel that a TSTT, properly structured at the governance level, with competent management, local management, could do the trick, because it was proven in the 80s when there was the whole issue of telco poops. The then government, that was one of the few decisions that did that made sense with the company, brought back Nielsen Mackay. He was a local that was residing in Canada, and he turned around the telephone company. And that was the beginning of a new direction. TSTT came out of that, but telco then was into research and development and all those other things, building capacities locally. And when Cable and Wireless came on the scene in 1991, they abandoned that research and development department and abandoned a trust by TSTT to develop local telecom expertise, because they said there was no need for that. The training function that we were clamoring for was stymied, it was stopped, and then we saw Cable and Wireless utilizing their capital input to push the company backwards. And we have seen TSTT, while we had profits in some years, in terms of building local telecom competencies, in terms of engineering aspects and all those things, and research and development, that has gone on the back burner. And we are saying we have to return to those days which will allow locals to have that kind of competence in the telecom sector, so we can run a successful TSTT. And that is basically where we have moved from then to now. So we are at a space where a third mobile license is going to be given out to someone, and from all reports is going to be to the Cable and Wireless Flow combination, backed by Liberty Global, and they really had the market cornered, because Flow also have license, and they are now going into the provision of 4 services: Blink, entertainment, TV, landline provisioning, mobile, and broadband aspect. TSTT has one advantage in the vigilance area, which is the security provisioning, but they all are now going to be provided the same services, and TSTT is going to be placed at some form of a competitive disadvantage if we don't have a particular kind of intervention. That has been our clamoring call for years now, and we believe we will continue that struggle until we see something happen.